It's a great day at the Academy of Scholars, and welcome to episode 6 of Scholarly Speaking Live with Dr. Stacy Lambert Johnson, Director of Student Success at the Academy of Scholars. I'm Benny Crane Jr., the Assistant Director of Student Success. For today's topic, we will discuss effective teachers and their impact on students.
Thank you for joining us for today's live session. No matter where you're joining us from, whether you're at home or at work, we pray that you're having a great AOS day and hope that you can visit us here on campus someday soon. So today, in honor of Teacher Staff Appreciation Week, we're going to recognize and discuss our favorite teachers. You know, the ones who left an impact on our lives and to this day have a special place in our hearts. Before we get started though, Benny, tell our viewers where they can access our show once it's over.
As always, everything from this show ends up on our website, academyofscholars.com. Includes both the audio and video versions. You can also find the video version on our Facebook page, YouTube channel, LinkedIn, and Instagram. You'll be able to download the audio version anywhere you download your favorite podcast. We want to take this opportunity to say hello to the people who are joining us live today. Also, shout out to all the people who follow us on our social media platforms. We appreciate you joining us. Do us a favor and tell your friends that we're on.
So Benny, I wonder how many people know that compared to any other aspect of schooling, teachers have the greatest impact on student achievement.
They do.
Basically, what that means is that what a teacher does in the classroom with and for children matters more than any other factor in terms of how well that student does. And according to the research, a well-trained teacher is likely to send more students to college and can boost a class's lifetime income by more than $250,000.
That's a lot.
Yes. These teachers not only make students feel good about school and learning, but their actions and hard work result in increased student achievement.
Yes, Stacy. And the research is pretty clear here. Students who are taught by effective teachers learn more than students who are taught by ineffective teachers.
True.
The difference is striking. Studies show that scholars learn more in 6 months from an effective teacher than a student who's in an average teacher's class and what they learn in a year. And the disparity between students who are taught by effective teachers and those who are taught by the least effective teachers is a year and a half. Wow. Students with effective teachers learn at 4 times the rate of those in the least effective teachers' classes.
Wow, that's amazing. So basically, great teachers matter.
Yes.
So what are we going to do today? What we're going to do is we're going to talk about and identify what the research says about the qualities of an effective teacher. And we're going to hear from some of our very own AOS teachers about the teachers that they had that left an impact on their lives. Benny, you know, you and I were having a conversation the other day about educators who impacted our lives. And it hadn't dawned on me until then that all the educators who had a positive impact on my life happened to be male teachers. Wow. You know, I'm fortunate because some people can go through a whole, their whole school career and never have male teachers. And I had 3 male teachers that left an impact on me. Mr. Meininger was my 4th and 5th grade teacher. Mr. Taylor was my elementary music teacher. Mr. Shatkin was my middle school music teacher. I don't know how these music teachers became my favorites.
You're holding out on
I'm
us.
not musically inclined. I cannot sing, I promise you. What about you?
Well, for me, when we talked about this, I thought about how I can name every teacher that ever taught me kindergarten through 12th grade. But maybe that's more a function of my memory than it is teachers who made an impact on me, even though thank you for all of those who taught me. But the 2 teachers who stick out most for me are my 11th grade math teacher, Miss Sandy Sturgeon, and the other was actually a substitute teacher, Mr. Isaac Seal.
Awesome. So let's dive in. The research says these are some of the qualities of effective teachers. 1, they have some type of formal teacher preparation training. So they didn't just walk in off the streets and say, I'm going to be a teacher, I'm a teacher. They were formally trained. Number 2, they hold certification of some kind, whether standard, alternative, or provisional certification, and they're certified within their fields. Certification matters. I mean, would you go to a doctor that wasn't board certified? So why be taught by a teacher that's not certified? Number 3, they usually have taught for at least 3 years, even though, Benny, you and I have known some exceptional first-year teachers. The research does say that most effective teachers have taught for at least 3 years.
And I just want to reiterate that we've had some rock star first-year teachers.
Yes.
So if you come to AOS and your scholar happens to be in a first-year teacher's classroom, you can rest assured they've been thoroughly vetted,
Yes.
and that likelihood is that they are a rock star themselves.
Absolutely. Number 4, they're caring, fair, and respectful. No one can tell who's their favorite because they're fair and they're consistent.
This is kind of like parenting. Like both of us have 2 children,
Yeah.
and there's no way that we could have our children feel like one of them are favorites. But just like we have favorite teachers, teachers do have favorite students. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just human, right?
Yeah.
But a great teacher, you will never be able to tell who their favorite student is.
That's true. Number 5, they hold high expectations for themselves and their students by holding themselves and their students accountable. No excuses. Number 6, they dedicate extra time to prepare for instruction, and they often reflect on their teaching by looking at what worked, what didn't, and how they can improve. Prior preparation prevents poor performance.
This is all about work ethic. And
Yes.
Stacey, one of the things that I admire about you is your work ethic. I'm sure it's
Thank
what made
you.
you such a great teacher. It is definitely what made me a great teacher. And it's what separates, when we're looking at teachers, it's what separates them and makes them differentiated from the good teachers and the just okay teachers.
That's true. Number 7, they maximize instructional time by having great classroom management and organization. So no wasted time in the classroom because of how organized these individuals are and how they manage their students.
I really believe this is why the research shows that the teachers with 3 or more years are more effective, is
Yeah.
because a novice teacher finds it harder to know those things that helps their classroom run better. So that's the difference between them.
Absolutely. Number 8, they enhance instruction by using a host of instructional strategies, activities, and assignments. They have a knack for making class engaging and educational. Number 9, they present content to students in a meaningful way that helps students understand, usually using a student's prior knowledge and helping them to make real-world connections.
I like to describe this as these teachers make me care. They make me care about what they're teaching.
Yes. Number 10, they check and monitor students' learning by using pre and post tests, providing timely and informative feedback, and they reteach the material to students who didn't get it the first time. They don't just move on, right? Number 11, they know how to reach all their students, regardless as to the range of ability levels or academic diversity in their classrooms, so they can reach and teach all their students. And finally, number 12, they know how to connect with students beyond the classroom. They take a personal interest in their students, learning about them and attending their events outside of school, whether it's baseball games, basketball games, track meets, dance recitals.
Yeah, all of
name
that. And Stacey, and this is the mark of an effective administrator too. How many of these events have you gone to over
Wow,
the years?
too
My
many to
goodness.
name.
And shout out to all the coaches out there. Coaches are teachers too. And as a former coach, I can't count how many rides I've given. When I was coaching high school football, for example, I felt like an Uber driver. Effective teachers and coaches' investments in students goes beyond the classroom and playing field. Some of the most meaningful conversations I've ever had with scholar athletes were on the way home from practice or picking them up for school.
So now that I've listed the qualities the research says makes an effective teacher, let's find out who are the teachers that impacted our lives and if the reasons we selected them match the research. I'll go first.
Okay.
So Mr. Meininger was my 4th and 5th grade teacher. He was probably one of the most engaging teachers I've ever had. He taught us how to write loop computer programs back in the 80s.
Wow.
Not dating myself, when computers were just becoming a thing. And the other thing he did is he never sent anyone to the principal's office. If we had a problem in the class became the courtroom, no lie,
Wow.
with a jury, attorneys, and a judge. It was amazing how much ownership and control we had in our own learning. Now, Mr. Shacken and Mr. Taylor both involved me with their family outings, and both would pick me up if my mother couldn't get me to the choir community engagements. Mr. Taylor, one thing I'll never forget, he even visited me in the hospital when I had gotten hit by a car when I was 7.
What?
And I was in the hospital for about a month. He came and he brought me a recorder. He visited me, brought me this recorder just so that I could practice my music notes while I was in the hospital. So with my mother having 7 children and not always being able to take me to choir practice and engagements, the extra time and effort that they poured into me convinced me that I would one day pay it forward, once I became an educator. But what about you, Benny?
Well, first of all, one day you're going to have to tell us about getting hit by a car.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's coming.
Now, Stacy, the backstory of why Miss Sturgeon sticks out to me is a little embarrassing, but I'll share it with everybody out there. We're all family, right?
We're family.
All right. So when I was in 9th grade, I started a new school, my alma mater here in town, the Lovett School, and I was in an accelerated math class. I was not used to the demands at the beginning of the school year, so I wasn't completing my homework. And my math teacher, Miss Ellen Brett, may she rest in peace, asked me why I wasn't completing my homework. Now, Miss Brett probably should have just called Benny and Becky Crane, but she didn't, so I lied.
Oh, no.
We talked about why children lie last week to not get in trouble. Right? So I said, the class is moving so fast, it's hard for me to keep up. I think I even shed shed tears to make her think, oh, it's just so hard for me. So they moved me to the standard class, and I cruised through math all of 9th grade, all of 10th grade.
Wow.
Then in 11th grade, after a couple weeks in Miss Sturgeon's class, she kept me after class one day and she said, you've been hiding in this class, and it stops today. Yeah. So she made me do 2 or 3 lessons a day on my own until I caught up with the accelerated class and booted me out of the class.
Go, Miss Sturgeon.
She didn't allow me not to reach my potential, and I really wish I had more teachers who would have held me accountable in this way. Now, Mr. Seal, like I said, was a substitute teacher that I had several times in 8th grade, who went on to be a great teacher and coach. Shout out to Mr. Seal. Mr. Seal was just different. I thought he was so cool, everything about him. He looked like Malcolm X with the glasses, and he also exposed me and my classmates, particularly the boys, to the teachings of Malcolm X. And this was the first time since I had been in school that a teacher talked to me about what it meant to be black in America.
Wow.
To this point, I'd only had a couple of African-American teachers, period. So Mr. Seal made a huge impact on me, even as a substitute.
Well, it's no question. Teachers make a big difference in our lives. And that's why I love celebrating our teachers during Teacher Appreciation Week. Some of our teachers took a moment to shout out some of their teachers that impacted their lives. So let's hear if what they said about their teachers matches what the experts say.
A teacher that inspired me was my middle school drama teacher. Her name was Miss Gilmeister. She gave a lot of love. She didn't have any children, so she treated all of the students that she taught like her own children. So we had her phone number. She would take us out to eat. We went on camping trips with her. The thing that really inspired me the most about her was that she held all of us accountable for any mistakes that we made. And she was not easy on us. She would be hard on you. But you knew that it was coming from a place of love. So if you were talented, if you were smart, she would let you know that those things weren't going to be important if you didn't apply those things to life. And if you made a mistake, you better hold yourself accountable, own up to your mistake, and see what you can do to become a better person. So that's what I loved about Miss Gilmeister.
He was my French teacher, taught me about the French language and French culture. I actually got to visit when I went for my honeymoon, and I was able to reconnect with him and let him know I've been. So merci beaucoup, Monsieur Frzezinski.
My college professor, Dr. Beverly Smith, she made such a difference in my life just by being an example of what type of teacher I would like to be. She was really considerate, she was sweet, she had words of encouragement. Whenever I had questions, and I had a lot of questions, she was always willing to answer them.
Miss Shepard was my kindergarten teacher who inspired me to become an elementary school teacher today. I still remember Miss Shepard to this day. She always made class so much fun. She was very nurturing and kind to all of her students.
My favorite teacher was Miss Guerin in 5th grade. She was an awesome teacher. She did awesome things for her students, and she still connects with her students till this day. I talk to her on Facebook and we communicate. I give her updates, and she's always so super proud of me.
My favorite teacher growing up was Miss Platt. She was my kindergarten teacher, and I was in her first kindergarten class ever. And I love Miss Platt so much because she always had lessons that were super engaging and fun, that were still enriching. When we did 3D shapes in math, I remember her bringing in a bunch of sand, and we had to get a little cup of water and we molded them into the 3D shapes. We talked about the faces, the edges, and the sides of the shape. And then I remember that now when I'm making my lessons for kindergarten, how my kids can one day remember their teacher 20 years from now.
Mrs. Lucretia Gregg, Thank you so much for everything you've done, whether it was really introducing me to the National Society of Black Engineers as a pre-collegiate and a collegiate, and also really just being an awesome engineering teacher overall, encouraging me to apply to Georgia Tech, and it's definitely shaped and molded my future as we stand here today. I really would not have been able to do a lot of the fantastic things I do currently without your guidance. So I really just want to say I appreciate you. I appreciate the impact that you've had on me and all the influence.
Wherever you are, Ms. Gilmeister, thank you very much. Love you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Guerin.
Thank you, Ms. Shepard, for inspiring me to become a teacher.
I just want to say thank you, Dr. Beverly Smith, for being so caring.
Thank you, Ms. Platt, for leaving such an imprint on me with your teaching. It has helped me become the teacher I am today.
The research matched, and we heard even in those short snippets how several of the 12 reasons you listed resonated not only with us, but with our teachers as well.
Yes, Benny. And you know, we always start the year out by apologizing to our teachers because we know how much work they're going to have to do in order to be great at AOS.
Yes.
I mean, we promise our parents that their children will receive a top-notch education in a safe, supportive, nurturing, and interactive environment. Not many people realize just how much work that entails. I mean, in order to provide the kind of top-notch service that we provide, our teachers have to go above and beyond what the average teacher does. Just like our scholars have to work harder than the average student. So they have to grade work within 48 hours in order to provide timely feedback. They have to complete and turn in lesson plans the week before they're due so that their teacher teams have time to look them over. They have to send a weekly newsletter complete with upcoming standards and homework assignments, and they have to return phone calls within 24 hours and written communication within 48 hours. These are just a few of the AOS expectations that make our teachers and our school great.
Yes.
Well, what do you think? What teacher would you like to shout out, and how did they impact your life? Please comment and share your thoughts on today's topic.
We appreciate when you comment and join in on the show. How about leaving a comment today to let your favorite teacher know that he or she made an impact on your life? And no matter where you live in the world, you can give your child access to an exceptional Christian affordable education with the Academy of Scholars Premier Online Learning. Not only does the Academy of Scholars give your child the opportunity to engage in school at their own pace, but we also provide a comprehensive curriculum taught by effective teachers, ones who will connect with your child and help them develop to their fullest potential. The Academy of Scholars Premier Online Learning is the online school you've been looking for.
Well, I hope you enjoyed today's live session. To learn more about our amazing school, the Academy of Scholars, please go to our website at academyofscholars.com. Join us next week as we continue our live discussions. Next week, we'll be honoring mothers. Until next time, I am Dr. Stacey Lambert Johnson.
And I'm Benny Crane Jr.
Saying goodbye and be blessed.
My favorite teacher was Miss Williams.
My favorite teacher was Mrs. Taylor.
My favorite teacher would be Miss Henry,
Mr. Scott,
Dr. Tom Elliott,
My mother, Mrs. Foster.
my mommy, Susan Mulrain,
Mr. Carl.
Miss Shear,
Miss Thomas,
Ms. Brotnick,
Mr. Fortner.
Dr. Angela Davis,
Miss Brinson.
Mr. Mosley,
Mrs. Willie Mae Samuels.
My favorite teacher is Miss Bird.
My favorite teacher was Mrs. Qualley.
My favorite teacher was Miss Guerin in 5th grade.
Thank you so much, Miss Wallace.
Thank you, Miss Smith, for inspiring me to be a teacher.
Thank you, Dr. White, for just everything you do to inspire your students.
I want to say thank you to my 3rd grade teacher, Mrs. Turk.
Thank you to my 5th grade teacher, Miss Henry.
Mrs. Jackson, thank you so much for inspiring me.
Thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for teaching me, and thank you for inspiring me.
Thank you so much, Miss Guerin.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Frzezinski.